Hello everyone, my name is Brian and I'll be talking about different synovial joint movements. So the first two movements I'll be talking about is flexion and extension. So flexion is basically decreasing angle of a joint, and extension is basically just going back to zero position. So I'll be using my elbow as an example. Flexion, you're flexing your muscles, decreasing the angle. Extension is just going back 180 degrees to 90 degrees. Whenever I think about this is think about bicep curls for some reason. It's a good example. So flexion, you're curling up. Bicep curls, flexion, and extension, going back. Flexion, extension. The next two movements I'll be talking about is abduction and adduction. So abduction is basically having a body part moving away from the midline or sagittal plane. So this is the midline. I'm using my arms as an example. My arms will be going away from the midline. This is abduction. And adduction is going back to the midline. So a good example of this is doing jumping jacks. So your legs and your arms are going away from the midline. So abduction, adduction, you're going back. Abduction and adduction. The next two terms I'll be talking about is protraction and retraction. So protraction is basically having a anterior movement or having a body part moving forward, and retraction is basically having a body part having a posterior movement or moving backward. So I'll be using my shoulders as an example. So protraction is basically moving forward. So having a anterior movement, and retraction is going backward. Posterior movement. Protraction and retraction. A good example of this is doing push-ups. So protraction is you're basically extending forward, and then retraction is going back. My arms are going back, and then forward, and then back. Protraction, retraction. Good workout. The next two terms I'll be talking about is rotation and circumduction. So whenever I think about rotation, I basically think about a body part moving left or right. So I'll be using my neck as an example. Excuse me. So my neck will be going right and left, just rotating to each side. And then another example is just bending my elbow and moving my forearm from left to right. Circumduction is basically having one of your body parts not moving at all and having the end of your body part making a circle. So my arm is not moving, but my wrist is going to draw a circle, or circumduction. So whenever I think about this, I think about just drawing a circle. So rotation is just moving right to left, and then circumduction is just basically drawing a circle with a body part. Next two terms I'll be talking about is supination and pronation. So supination is basically having a body part in an upward position. Sorry about that. Upward position. I'll be using my palms. So this is supination. So this is basically saying what's up, And pronation is basically having a body part facing downward. So supination and then pronation. Hey, what's up? Okay, goodbye. Or I don't know if that's a good example. The next two terms I'll be talking about is plantar flexion and dorsiflexion. So whenever I think about this, plantar flexion, I'm trying to do a yoga pose. So plantar flexion, you want your toes facing downward. So downward is plantar flexion, and dorsiflexion is just pointing up. Plantar flexion is pointing down to the plantar flexion. Dorsiflexion is just pointing up, like a fin. Dorsiflexion, I don't know. Well, there you have it. I don't know if those are good examples, but you guys have a good day.